Hey, Shalom Akim. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Aqua Kadash, double honor to Apostle Elders, Great Millstone. Peace and salutations, and honor to you, brothers across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth in sincerity. Hey, real quick, this happened. I was kind of reflecting on it. This happened, I think, a couple weeks ago, but
it's not my fault.
jump
That's what
into it.
magician David Copperfield is saying after testifying in court. Copperfield claims he should not be held accountable for an audience member being injured during one of his illusions at a magic show in Las Vegas. Legendary magician David Copperfield has been forced to pull back the curtain on his famous illusion.
My name is David Copperfield.
Copperfield took the stand in a Las Vegas courtroom where he's being sued by a fan who says he suffered traumatic brain injuries during a performance at the MGM Grand.
You're not responsible to him. Yes or no? I don't think we're responsible. You don't think so, right?
The trick is called the Lucky 13. Copperfield begins by tossing 13 silver balls into the audience. The folks who catch them are called to the stage where they're suspended in a box. A curtain drops, and when the curtain rises, the fans have disappeared, only to reappear in the rear of the theater. Now, as Copperfield takes the stand, he's compelled to reveal how he did it.
So it's not magic? Okay.
It's not.
Here's what really happens after the curtain drops. Stagehands holding flashlights rush everyone out of the box.
Everyone, this way. Come on, let's go.
Then they're taken backstage through winding passages, much like this recreation at the Inside Edition studios. In Copperfield's case, the fans were actually shown outside the MGM before re-entering the theater where Copperfield was performing. The guy suing Copperfield, 58-year-old Gavin Cox, says it was total pandemonium. You don't know where you are going. It's dark. There are hands pushing you on your back. Cox says he fell into a construction zone. His lawyer told us he found Copperfield evasive on the stand.
Just yes or no. Is it more extreme?
It's not a yes or no question.
When you're asking questions of somebody and they're avoiding the answers and they're giving speeches, obviously that's frustrating.
Hey, now, basically, this dude, as you can see, he's a magician. He was forced to give up his magic trick. He was forced to give up the illusion on how he did the stuff, and boom, now he's being exposed. Or he has to expose himself in Esau's Court, showing you that Esau's Court is the highest, basically the highest level of courtroom on this earth right now. Of course, we know being the men of the Lord, that's the highest court is going before Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. But in terms of Esau society, they brought him to court. He had to give up all of his magic to a greater magician, which is Esau. And just real quick, if you're not familiar with the story of, well, I'm going to start at verse 1. Daniel 5:1. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, while he tasted the wine, commanded to bring gold and silver vessels, which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple, which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that they had taken out of the temple, out of the house of the Most High, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drunk wine and praises the gods of gold and silver, of brass, iron, wood, and stone. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace, and the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. And the king's countenance was changed, his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. So his knees were clattering against each other, basically. He was afraid. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, the soothsayers, and the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. So basically, Belshazzar, he saw the destruction of Babylon as prophesied by the hand on the wall. That's where you get this term, the writing is on the wall. And he summoned his wise men, his sorcerers, his witches, right? Kind of like this guy, David Copperfield. And you got many more. And behind the scenes, best believe that's what Esau is doing. That's why you're starting to see a turn up on these different, like Black Panther, these different black liberation movements and Black Lives Matter and all these other people are popping up out the woodwork because basically Esau can see his society is destroyed. Everything that made America great is now gone. You know, the Israelite family system, it was always fucked up. Now Esau's family system is fucked up. You know, it used to be these Edomites, they could get away with molesting little boys and doing, you know, weirdo shit behind the scenes, getting with animals. Now all of that stuff is being manifested and is being put out there. Used to be these Edomites could chill at home and do drugs and all this stuff with no consequences. Now, once again, you have a whole opioid crisis. You know, with the line in the drugs with fentanyl or they're using certain prescription pills. So Esau can see his society is done, and that people are doing everything that they can to try to maintain and stop this place from crumbling. And like I said, behind the scenes, that's why they released the Black Panther movie, because you know after all this time they finally released a black superhero. I mean, you've had a couple here on and off, but they really were low budget films. But now here it is. You know, like I said, Esau has to throw that magic, which Disney owns Marvel anyway, so we know there's some witchcraft behind that. And just to show you, man, that the writing is on the wall. This is an article. The amount of retail space closing in 2018 is on pace to break a record. That's right. Ones of the most notable: Toys R Us, Sam's Club, Sears, Bon-Ton. All these places are being forced into liquidation. And then they show you 2008. That was back right after the recession. 2016, they show you 2017. And now this is just, and these are 4 quarters. This is just 2 quarters. This is quarter 1, which a lot of businesses announced for closure. And then this is, I believe that's 1 million square feet. But this is quarter 2, and then you still got quarter 3 and quarter 4. So somebody else is gonna go broke too. And then now they're estimating the Gap, Macy's, JCPenney, Signet Jewelers, and you have many other stores who are going broke. You go into the mall now, you're starting to see a lot more vacant stores in the mall, a lot more vacancies. So, hey man, the writing is on the wall. Esau's behind the scenes. You know, he's getting with these different business analysts, all these people basically, because you have a lot of these guys who are masons, who are in the sorcery. He's getting with them. He's trying to figure out everything. All his people with inside knowledge. You know, how can we keep this thing afloat? How can we? And the elites on the top level, if you're at top level, you know there's no way, because they follow the scriptures. If the scriptures say, well, let's use the most obvious one. If the scriptures talk about there's going to be a mark that people are going to take to worship the beast, Esau knows he has to invest a certain amount of money into the RFID chip. You know, and that goes for all the things that the wicked do according to the scriptures, because Esau is the wicked. He does them. It's not by accident. It's by design. Like the scriptures also say, seeking to please the poor. These Edomites are now seeking to please us. That's why a lot of their businesses are put up to go to so-called Black, Native American, and Latino people. Now they're finally creating a market for us. Well, they're not creating a market, but they're finally kind of they're basically the ship is sinking, and they're letting a lot of our people who are sellouts, some who are not, but mostly who are sellouts. They're finally, letting them drive the ship a little bit, but it's too late. It's not going to matter because we know, of course, um, once the truth was brought out and from Daniel, Belshazzar went ahead and gave up his spirit. He died after this. Yep. Verse 30. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldean slave, and then Darius the Mede, right, and the Persian Empire took place after that. So that's exactly what's going on with this place, man. The writing is on the wall. The grinding mill shall cease. Esau's sorcerers and soothsayers, they've all failed, and they're all going to go down because once again, man, they're trying to utilize the left hand energy, which is going down. The scriptures say what? The moon and the stars shall fail, and the minute of the Lord is coming to that time where the truth is going to hit in some way, shape, or form. It's gonna bust through on the mainstream or something, and millions of people are going to see it. But with that being said, call the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's why it's important we keep pushing. We maintain discipline, we maintain order, and we keep pushing the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom.